point A on reflection in the x-axis is mapped as A dashed. Okay. So, and point B on reflection in the y-axis is mapped as B dash minus 4, 3. Okay. And you need to write down the coordinates of A dash and B first. Okay, let's write down the coordinates of A dash. First of all, A, what is the coordinate of A given? 3, 2, 3 minus 2. Sorry. This 3 minus 2 is mapped onto on reflection in the x-axis, right? It becomes a point A dashed, isn't it? This A dash, now if you remember, how do you reflect a point in the x-axis? You keep the x coordinate intact and you simply change the sign of the y coordinate. So from minus 2, this becomes plus 2, right? So you have written the coordinates of A dash. Next is the point B on reflection in the y-axis is mapped to B dash. So B is mapped to B dash, or B dash is mapped to B. Same thing, right? So B dash on reflection is the image, right? In the y-axis, right? This is the image, right? And this is the object. Or whether I say this is the object and this is the image, it's the same thing, right? If I consider one as the object, the other is the image. If I consider the other as the image, the other one is the object, right? So how do you find out the coordinates of the point B on reflection in the y-axis? In this case, the y coordinate remains the same. We change the sign only of the x coordinate, right? So it becomes B 4, 3, right? Okay. So this is question number that answers the part 1 of this question. We now see part 2 of the question. Part 2 is find the slope of the line A dash B and hence find its inclination. Inclination means inclination with the x-axis, the angle. Okay. You need to find out the slope of the line A dash B. First, write down the coordinates. X1, Y1 here is A dashed. X1, Y1 is A dashed. Coordinates of A dashed is 3, 2, right? And B, let us consider B to be X2, Y2. And B has a coordinate 4, 3, right? So therefore, slope of A dash B, of the line A dash B. When you know 2 points on a straight line, how do you find out the slope of the straight line? Y2 minus Y1 by X2 minus X1, right? So Y2 here is 3 minus Y1 here is 2 divided by X2 here is 4, X1 here is 3. So you're getting 1 here, right? Slope you're getting as 1. Now they are not only asking you for the slope, they are asking you for the inclination also. So I say let theta be the inclination.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Let theta be the inclination of the line A dash B, right? So therefore, if I call the slope as, let's say, m, okay, then m must be equal to tan theta, isn't it? And what is the value of m? Slope 1 is equal to tan theta. Means tan theta must be equal to 1. That means tan theta must be equal to tan 45. That means what is the inclination here? It is 45 degrees. Inclination of the straight line with the x-axis is 45 degrees. That finishes the first part of straight lines. We now move to the second part of straight lines, which is conditions of parallelism and perpendicularity. Before proceeding to problems, we'll see what the condition of parallelism and perpendicularity is. Condition of parallelism and perpendicularity. of straight lines. Okay. Okay. Now suppose if I give you two straight lines which are parallel to each other. Okay. And I give you the slope of this as m1, and I give you the slope of this as m2. This is the condition of parallelism. First, we are discussing condition of parallelism. Okay. Okay. Coming back, m1 says the slope of say the line L1, and say for the line L2 you have the slope m2. Okay. If these two lines are parallel, then the condition of parallelism states that the slope of these two lines must be equal. Okay. Whenever two lines are parallel, their slopes must always be equal. Okay. Okay. So if I, for example, if I give you a straight line, this two straight lines parallel, and if I give you the equation of this line as
इसको फेंक दीजिए तो
2x plus 3y minus 1 is equal to 0. If I give you the equation of this straight line, and if I ask you what should be the slope of this line, okay, then how will you find out the slope of the other line? Okay. Now see, first line, let's call this line L1, and let's call this line L2. Given the equation of L1, you have to find out the slope of L2. Okay. So for the line L1, you write this equation 2x plus 3y minus 1 is equal to 0. Write this equation in the form y is equal to mx plus c. That is the slope intercept form. So what we are going to do is we are going to write this as 3y is equal to minus 2x plus 1. We're going to get this as y is equal to minus 2x plus 1 by 3. Means y is equal to minus 2 by 3 x plus 1 by 3. Right? Which is of the form y is equal to mx plus c. So therefore, what is the slope of the line L1? Slope of the line L1 is this y is equal to mx plus c, which is, let me write this, which is of the form y is equal to mx plus c. If you compare, m here is minus 2/3, right? So slope of this line, if I call this as m1, is minus 2 by 3. Now if the slope of this line L1 is minus 2 by 3, and because these two lines are parallel, slope of this line must also be minus 2 by 3, right? Hence slope of the line L2 is m2 equal to minus m2 equal to m1, which is equal to minus 2 by 3. Right? So this is the first condition, which is that of parallelism, very easy condition, that if you know the slope of one line, and if you want to find out the slope of any parallel line, any line which is parallel to that line, then their slopes must be equal. You can find it out by equating their slopes. Okay. So this was the condition of parallelism. Let's now see the second condition, which is called the condition of perpendicularity. Condition of perpendicularity. What does this mean? If I have two straight lines which are perpendicular to each other, okay, such that, let's call this line as L1 and let's call this line as L2. L1 and L2 are perpendicular to each other, and suppose if I know the slope of this line as M1, and if I know the slope of this line as M2, then according to a condition of perpendicularity, the product of their slopes must be minus 1. This is just as you had m1 is equal to m2 for condition of parallelism. Similarly, you have condition of perpendicularity as product of the slopes m1 m2 must be equal to -1. Okay. So if given one slope, you can also write this as m2 is equal to -1 by m1. Okay. That is, if you know the slope of one line, then you can find out the slope of the other line by taking the negative reciprocal of that slope. Okay. For example, let's say okay, if I give you the slope of this line as, say, slope is equal to 2. Okay. And I need to find out the slope of this line m2. And I know that these two straight lines are perpendicular. So it is given to you that two straight lines are perpendicular and you know the slope of one straight line. How do you find out the slope of the other straight line? Let's call this line as L1 and L2. This line as L2, and let's call this line as L1. Slope of the line L2 is M2 is equal to negative reciprocal of slope of the other line, right? And what is the slope of the other line? 2. So the slope of the line L2 is -1/2. So once if I know the slope of this line, and if I know the two straight lines are perpendicular, then I can write the slope of the other line as the negative reciprocal of the other line, of the first line. Okay, fine. So with this idea, let's start with the problems. Okay, let's start with number 4. If you read the question number 4, it states, given that the line y is equal to y by 2 is equal to x minus p and ax plus 5 is equal to 3y are parallel. Okay, find the value of a. So given here, y by 2 is equal to x minus p, call this 1, and ax plus 5 is equal to 3y, call this equation 2, are parallel. Okay, given that these two straight lines are parallel, you need to find out the value of um, you need to find out the value of um,
X.
no, not x, a and p. You need to find the value of a, not p. You only need to find out the value of a. Okay, that is this one. Okay. So let's see how to find out. Now see, first of all, you need to find out the slope of the two straight lines. Okay, so from 1, you write the first equation in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So from 1, writing in the form y is equal to mx plus c, we get y is y by let's start with the straight line here. We get y by 2 is equal to x minus p. This is the first equation given. So you write this as y is equal to twice x minus p, cross multiply. So you get y is equal to 2x minus 2p, right? Now which is of the form y is equal to mx plus c, right? So what is the slope here? 2, isn't it? Therefore slope. And if I call this slope as m1 is equal to 2, isn't it? Similarly, from 2, you write this equation in the form y is equal to mx plus c. Similarly, from 2, x plus 5y, 5 is equal to 3y, right? So that means now if you divide both sides by 3, you get ax plus 5 by 3 is equal to y. That means you get y is equal to ax plus 5 by 3. That means now if you separate ax by 3 plus 5 by 3, isn't it? So that now you get y is equal to a by 3 into x plus 5 by 3, right? So now this is of the form y is equal to mx plus c. And what is m here? A by 3. So slope m2 is equal to a by 3, right? Now these two straight lines are parallel to each other, isn't it? So therefore, and the slope of this we have got as 2. And the slope of this we have got as a by 3. And because they are parallel, their slope must be equal. Since 1 and 2 are parallel, therefore m1 must be equal to m2. And what is the value of m1? 2. What is the value of m2? A by 3. So that means you get a is equal to 6. Okay. That finishes this question. Let's move to the next question. The next question is number 6. The question given here is, if the straight lines 3x minus 5y plus 7 is equal to 0 and 4x plus ay plus 9 is equal to 0 are perpendicular. Okay, let's read the second part a little later. Let's note down the equation of the lines. Given 3x minus 5y plus 7 is equal to 0 and 4x plus ay plus 9 is equal to 0. Second equation. These two straight lines are perpendicular to each other. Okay. Now let's read the next part of the question. Find the value of a. So you need to find this value of unknown. Now this is exactly like the question we did the other just now, except that in that question it was given that the lines are parallel. Here it is given that the lines are perpendicular. So we'll proceed exactly in the same manner. We are going to find out the slope of the two straight lines. Okay. So writing 1 in the form y is equal to mx plus c, we get you have 3x minus 5y plus 7 is equal to 0. You get 3x plus 7 is equal to 5y. That means you get 5y is equal to 3x plus 7. Divide both sides by 5 now. You get y is equal to 3x plus 7 by 5. Hence you get y is equal to 3 by 5x plus 7 by 5. Therefore, what can you say? Slope of this line? Slope of the line 1 is m1 equal to the coefficient of x here, right? 3 by 5. Okay. Similarly, from 2, again write equation 2 in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So we have 4x plus ay plus 9 is equal to 0. That means you get ay is equal to minus 4x plus 9. That means you get y is equal to minus 4x plus 9 by a. Means now if you separate, you get y is equal to minus 4 by a times x plus 9 by a, right? So therefore, what is the slope of this line? Slope of the line 2 is m2 is equal to coefficient of x here. Coefficient of x here is minus 4 by 8, right? Okay, once we have managed to find out the slope of the two straight lines, and if the two straight lines are perpendicular to each other, it is given to you that they are perpendicular to one another. That means the product of their slope must be equal to minus 1. So since the two lines 1 and 2 are perpendicular to each other, what is the condition of perpendicularity? Product of their slopes m1 m2 must be equal to minus 1, right? Put the values of m1 and m2. M1 we have got here as 3 by 5, and m2 we have got here as minus 4 by 8 is equal to minus 1. Okay, so that means you have minus 12 by 5a is equal to minus 1. Minus and minus can cancel from both sides. So you get, and if you cross multiply, you get 12 is equal to 5. Means you get 5a is equal to 12. That means a is equal to 12 by 5. And that's the value of a that you would like to find out. Okay. So that finishes this question. Can move to the next question. The next question is number 8. According to question number 8, it is given, is the line if is the line the true minus 2 3 and 4 1 perpendicular to the line 3x plus 3x is equal to y plus 1. Okay, let's note down the points. The given points are, or the given coordinates are minus 2 3 and 4 1. And the given straight line is 3x is equal to y plus 1. Now the question states that is the join of these points. Suppose if I have 2 points here, minus 2 3 and 4 1. Okay, join of these 2 points, is it perpendicular to this line 3x is equal to y plus 1? Is the angle between these two lines 90 degree? That is what the question is. That's what the question is asking you, that is the angle 90 degree or not. Okay, so how will you check whether the angle is 90 degree? You check whether the product of their slopes is minus 1 or not. If the product of their slopes is minus 1, then you say that they are perpendicular to each other. And if their slopes is not equal to minus 1, then you say that they are not perpendicular to each other. As simple as that. Okay, but the question is how to find out if I call this line L1 and if I call this line L2. So how do you find out the slope of L1? So slope, these two are not 90 degrees, so let me just erase this. Okay, slope of the line joining minus 2 3 and 4 1 is, let's say the slope is m1. And how do you find out the slope of a straight line joining 2 points? If you call this as x1 y1 and this as x2 y2, your m1 will be y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, right? If you know 2 points on a straight line, this is how you find out the slope, by this formula. So you have y2 as 1, y1 as 3, x2 as 4 and x1 as minus 2. So you're getting here minus 2 by 6, which is minus 1/3. This is the slope of the line L1. Okay. Now what about the slope of the line L2? You don't know the points on this line, but you know the equation of the line, right? So writing 3x is equal to y plus 1 in the form y is equal to mx plus c, we get 3x minus 1 is equal to y, right? That means y is equal to 3x minus 1, isn't it? Now, if you compare this with y is equal to mx plus c, what is the slope here? 3, isn't it? So slope of this line is m2 is equal to 3, right? Now we need to check whether they are perpendicular or not. So let's check the product of the slopes. So what is m1, m2? Product of the slopes, we have m1, m2 is equal to, we have found m1 as minus 1/3. And the value of m2 is 3, right? What is the product? We're getting minus 1, isn't it? So since m1, m2 is equal to minus 1, that is product of the slopes is equal to minus 1, we conclude that the straight line joining minus 2, 3 and 4, 1 is perpendicular to the line 3x is equal to y plus 1. Okay, so that finishes this problem. Let's start with the next one, and this should be the last problem for the day. Number 9. Question is, the line through a minus 2, 3 and b 4b is perpendicular to the line 2x minus 4y is equal to 5. Find the value of b. Okay, so the given coordinates are a minus 2, 3, okay, and b 4b. And the given straight line is two x minus 4y is equal to 5. Okay, find the value of b. You need to find the value of this. Okay, given that AB, the join of these 2 points, the straight line joining these 2 points, A and B, is perpendicular to this straight line. Okay, so first of all, we'll find out the slope of AB. Slope of AB is equal to, let's say, slope of AB is m1. So you consider this as your x1, this as your y1, this as your x2, this is your y2. You get y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, right? So you have b minus 3 divided by 4 minus of minus 2, which is equal to b minus 3 by 4 plus 2, 6, right? This is the slope of the line joining these 2 points, right? Now we want to find out the slope of this line. So writing 2x minus 4y is equal to 5 in the form y is equal to mx plus c, we get 2x minus 5 is equal to 4y. Since 4y is equal to 2x minus 5, that means you get y is equal to 2x minus 5 by 4. That means now if you divide each term, so you get 2 by 4x minus 5 by 4, right? That means you get y is equal to, you can cancel this here, half x minus 5 by 4. So what can you say? Slope of the line 2x minus 4y is equal to 5 is, let us call this as, this is the coefficient of x, as this will give us our slope, right? Y is equal to mx plus c. Let us call this as m2 is equal to half, right? Now these two are given to be perpendicular, that is the line joining a and b, whose slope is b minus 3 by 6, and this straight line 2x minus 4y is equal to 5, whose slope we have found out to be half. These two are perpendicular, that means the product of their slopes must be minus 1. So since AB is perpendicular to 2x minus 4y is equal to 5, therefore m1 m2 must be equal to minus 1. Now put the values. M1 here is b minus 3 by 6. M2 here is half, must be equal to minus 1. So just multiply this, you get b minus 3 into 1 as b minus 3, and 6 into 2 will give you 12 is equal to minus 1. Now you cross multiply, you get b minus 3 is equal to minus 12. That means b is equal to 3 minus 12. That means b must be equal to minus 9. And that should be your answer. So the value of b they were asking you to find out, you have found out the value of b to be minus 9. Okay. So that should be it. I'll stop here.